MR Systems Watermine Studio. Again, I'm joined today with Pam Moss, who's the Application Development Manager for Hach. It's great having her today. This little podcast, we're going to be focusing on wastewater and a lot of the enhanced nutrient removal requirements at the modern wastewater treatment plants today, and operators interface to SCADA, and really managing these instruments, getting the metadata out of it, and really trying to get a lot more information out of the data.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate that. Thank you for inviting me here to the Water Podcast Studio. This is an amazing thing that MR Systems is doing, and I'm very appreciative as Hach of being here with you guys today. What we want to look at in this podcast is talk a little bit about wastewater side and the tools that y'all will need when you're working with biological nutrient removal in your processes and the enhanced biological nutrient removal, where SCADA systems are highly important to what you're doing. Your process analyzers and probes in your basins are highly important with what you're doing, but also your operator rounds and the operator tests you're running to verify, as well as a certified lab. So I want to take a look at that a little bit. Remember, we're trying to create an environment for our bugs to do their job. We're trying to get rid of phosphorus. We're trying to break down ammonias. But we have to create that environment within those basins. You know, we can control DO, we can control solids, we can control pH. Hard to control the bugs, we control their environment. So that's why we put in the basins, you know, dissolved oxygen probes, pH probes, solids probes, ammonia probes or analyzers, phosphorus analyzers, nitrogen analyzers, to really watch and improve those processes across the basin. We want to be conservative of energy, make sure we're using the right thing. What I've thrown on the screen here, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in depth, but there's a plant in North Carolina, as well as other plants, who are really driving towards enhanced BNR. They're sit at the head of a large lake system, and their levels are pretty darn low on all their nutrients. And they have a wonderful SCADA system they're working with. They also have their operators and their laboratories are running nutrients by a DR3900 spectrophotometer and our TNT chemistries, the test and tube chemistries, and they have a large central lab who are running these tests by certification rather. So some of the trending that we can do before we look at the test is their chief operators, their operators, and their superintendent look at this every day, these trends, where this blue is an influent ammonia probe. The red are grab samples by the operators every 2 hours, and they're running the ammonia and the other nutrients by TNT chemistries on a DR3900 within their laboratory. The green is an ammonia certified lab method by their central lab. So they're watching this very, very carefully, and when they start seeing a deviation in that data, trigger reports are sent out through Hach WIMS, Water Information Management Solutions, to say, go investigate. Let's take a look. Is something going on with the analyzer? But wait, the analyzer and the certified lab data are all trending together. Something's up here in the red where the operators were taking the data. So it gives them a chance to really fine tune and take a look at methodology, see if something's up, do some additional training, but really trend and fine tune that process with it.
And really what we found is that the more modern plants are putting some of these online analyzers and correlating them to the lab data, because it gives us real information of what we're trying to control. Yeah. Historically, we've had to use derivatives of nitrification, denitrification, mainly dissolved oxygen. Ammonia is a much better value to correlate whether your nitrification is complete and things like that. So it is great to actually be using the real values that are driving the nutrient removal through the biological means, and not just look at a derivative, because these will react much quicker than dissolved oxygen or even alkalinity or something like that, which is a trailing factor. It still will let you know what's going on with the system, but ammonia and other phosphorus and things like that is really what you're trying to control to. That's what the state limits are set on. So we're actually controlling based on what's required for the plant to produce coming out of the plant.
Yeah, it is. There are many plants here in Georgia as well as the Carolinas where mostly I work that have switched to ammonia-based aeration. Because you're right, it is about the actual value. It's not the DO, it's not the pH. Those are important, you're setting the environment. But measure what you're actually trying to reduce. So looking at ammonia, looking at nitrate, nitrite, look at your phosphorus, and have those values coming in through powerful SCADA systems, but verify. You're using those lab tests to verify, 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 verify. For those of y'all who do not have large plants or don't have the budgets to have a lot of ammonia analyzers, phosphorus analyzers, the process control done by the laboratory is a really critical factor. And just wanted to point this out, many wastewater plants are using the Hach DR3900 spectrophotometer and our test and tube chemistries. They're running their plants by this every 2 hours, knowing what's going on. And granted, those are grab samples, they're not composite samples, but it gives them something to start with. And as their budgets grow, they're able to add ammonia probes, ammonia analyzers, phosphorus analyzers out there. But our TNTs, we have phosphorus, we have nitrate, we have nitrite, you have the simplified TKNs, the ammonias, various ranges. So these are great tools for folks to be able to use within the laboratory to be able to help control their plants.
And really, it's a great place to start, because not only do they need the budget, but they need dedicated personnel to keep these online analyzers calibrated online, maintained, so they do give us the accurate information. So as they're building their culture, not only their biological culture, but their workflow culture at the plant, it's a great stepping stone to full automation using these online analyzers to control the biological nutrient removal at their plant.
It absolutely is. And let's take a look at that, because they're right, the service of these is hugely important. If you're going to invest in these online analyzers, you have got to maintain those. You have to service them, you have to take care of them. They're an asset for you. One thing that can give you some visibility, and let me come over here real quick. Hach has a solution in our Claros platform where you've got the phosphorus analyzers, the nitrate, nitrite probes, et cetera, bringing the data through SCADA, the actual data points. But there's a lot of metadata within those instruments for the health of those instruments, both analyzers and probes, that you want to know about. You want to know that that data coming in through SCADA system is valid, good data, that maintenance has been done. So we have programs called Mobile Sensor Management, where you would have a sensor and analyzer. You have the controller transmitting the data to the Microsoft Azure cloud, where you can take a look at that and see that metadata within that instrument to see DO probe when the caps are due. You know, pH, is it out of whack? Ammonia, you can actually calibrate from your DR3900 through your lab back to that analyzer. So there's a lot of very, very exciting things going on with Azure Cloud Technologies, being able to see, this is in an Azure Cloud right here with a couple sensors I was playing with, a DO probe, some controllers, where you can have it on your phone, you know, have it on your iPad, take a look at it, and you know what's actually going on with those probes and analyzers in real time. So if something came up, it gives you more visibility, more information to go investigate if you have issues. But that's part of our instrument management line through Claros, so we're very excited about that. A lot of folks are using it, especially at remote sites. So, it is. It's all about keeping that environment created for your bugs to do their job in wastewater.
And providing the data so that they can do their job better and really get the most out of the plant, the most efficient treatment, and also stay in compliance at all times. That's probably the most important thing we're all trying to do. But just the responsible treatment of water and wastewater is really what it's all about, and having the right instruments and monitoring systems is really key to getting that, because it has gotten a lot more complicated and technical than it used to be, but it's also a lot more advanced, and we can really get a lot more information instead of just guessing. Most operators had a sludge judge back in the day, and are there any of the have you run into many of your very old, antiquated instruments still online?
Oh, yes.
Out there?
Oh, yes.
Some museum quality pieces?
There are some museum quality pieces out there. Yes, there are. But, you know, some of them, I mean, they have their tool, they have their purpose, but there's so much out there on the market for, to help you in your wastewater treatment process. I mean, through Hach and through many others that are out there on the market. And certainly, you know, awesome SCADA systems are a huge part of that. Service is a huge part of that, as those of you are really driving to some very exciting things in your wastewater treatment processes.
Great. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, Pam.
Thank you.
And we're going to be doing another little session on data management, so stay tuned. And again, I appreciate you joining us. And please subscribe, and we'd love to have you other participate. Any comments below? Myself, or most likely Pam, because she knows a lot more about it, will be glad to respond to you and try to help you out with your issues. But thank you very much.
Thank you.